Yo, recap Rangers, let's begin the story. At night, in the sacred ground of the demonic cult, a boy is running hurriedly without even catching his breath. Then he hadn't noticed a snag on the ground, where he tripped himself and was rolled on the ground and fell to a steep slope. As he is cursing his bad timing, he realized that his legs and his body have been completely exhausted, yet he believes that he shouldn't waste his time here and got up quickly, and to his front, there are a few warriors on the tree, and the protagonist named Yeowon Cheon is reprimanding the warriors. The warriors are all laughing at the MC, given that they were waiting here for so long, that they are even planning to sleep or to have a picnic. The protagonist doesn't know what to do in these type of situations, where his body is exhausted to run anymore, so he is planning to buy some time, in which he is inquiring the warriors as to why they are targeting him like this. Moreover, he mentioned that he had no intention of attending the martial arts academy. Then an assassin spoke to the MC, that even if the MC were to give up on the academy, or if his fighting moves are laughable, the MC is still known as the young Master Cheon, the son of the patriarch, and his mother who is just a mere concubine. The moment the MC heard those words from the assassins, as to how they are slandering his mother, his eyes have narrowed, and he took out a dagger out of his kimono, that even if he were to die today, he wouldn't leave this world without a fight. The assassin mocks the MC, that all the assassins here are now scared because of the dagger that the MC had pulled out. The assassin is pondering that the guard who protects the MC must have taught him a basic self-defense stance. Yet the assassin could discern the courage in Cheon, which is outstanding.
In that moment, all the assassins have lunged at the protagonist. The protagonist is swinging his sword blindly, as they have surrounded him from all sides. Then, an assassin just used the sword's hilt to hit the MC's back of the hand, where the protagonist left the dagger. By taking this as a chance, the assassin rapidly caught Cheon's throat and is questioning if Cheon is finished with his ugly fighting forms. To his surprise, the MC is slowly pulling out another dagger from the back. And then an assassin saw that and quickly informed his partner to watch out. In that fleeting moment, Cheon stabbed the sword right into the assassin's throat, and all the assassins who are witnessing this are blown away by what Cheon had did. As he fell to the ground, he is sneering at the assassin, that this would serve him right. The whole assassin squad is bewildered of this, since Cheon had really killed an assassin that is from the stealth squad, so they believe that the MC swinging his sword recklessly just a moment ago was all an action to catch them off guard. The assassin could feel the intensity in the stab from Cheon, since it is not an easy feat to do something like that when they are in face of death itself. So the assassin charged at the MC, and he is imagining that Cheon would have been a beast if he were to receive formal training like everyone.
Then he used his knee to land a blow on the protagonist's chin, where he spatted out some blood, and the assassin, without a moment's break, quickly used his sword to pierce through Cheon's belly. And as Cheon is yelling in pain, the assassin is asking him that how does it feel when there is a hole in his stomach. Cheon doesn't have any more ideas, so he concludes that he at least took down a person before he dies. The assassin is pressing on the wound, where he is making this as painfully as possible, because Cheon needs to die slowly by experiencing agony. An assassin watching this is a bit upset that they have lost a man just because they have let their guards down.
It was at this moment, a light suddenly started to flash, and the assassin who is torturing the MC has enlarged his eyes, where in that split second, he is blown away by some beam that his upper body had torn into shreds by that force. As everyone is confounded about what is happening, a person who is wearing some modern shoes has set foot into the scenario. Then an assassin sensed that someone is behind him, and quickly notified his troop by pointing his finger. Thunder sparks are blitzing around the person who just landed, where this boy has adorned himself in the modern attire, like a hottie in a jean pant, with some goggles on his head. The assassin is perplexed that he never saw such a strange clothes, and an assassin charged at this boy swiftly. The boy just smiled at the assassin. At that instant, a light began to glow. This assassin is also taken down in the same manner as the previous one. The assassins are stunned to watch this. The boy is starting to vanish into thin air. The boy is now taking down the assassins one by one. The assassins couldn't even see him properly. Then an assassin is flabbergasted to see the boy's lightness skill, and the assassin finalizes that the boy must be a powerful Mura master, but he couldn't comprehend as to why such a formidable master is helping Chun.
The assassin watching the condition of Cheon could perceive that Cheon won't last long since the blood loss is high. So now that his objective is completed in this mission, he is retreating himself and has jumped into the air. Then the boy simply raised his hand, and a strange light began to glow, where this light made the assassin's body blow in half. Cheon, seeing the death of the assassin, is grinning with happiness, and then he slowly started to shut down his eyes. The boy then began to express his thoughts, that he is surprised to see his ancestor laughing menacingly when he is on the verge of death. Cheon is confused at those words, as to why the boy is calling him ancestor. At that time, Cheon's eyesight has begun to weaker as each second passes by, where he can even sense that his body is getting colder. The boy then started looking at his watch, where he's feeling bad, that he had already been found out. Then he started to take out an unusual device from his pocket. He is conversing to the MC, that he wanted to come earlier and to teach him how to use it, but now that he had no time, he needs to inject this before Cheon dies. As the boy is injecting this on the neck and on the chest, he is happy that things went smoothly. And the boy injected the nano machines into the MC's body. The nano machines are traveling at a high speed in Cheon's body. Then he called Cheon as his forefather and whispered to him that he hopes for Cheon to do some good for his descendants. And he apprised about the nano machines that he injected, in which they are the most advanced and the best in the world, so Cheon won't have any trouble to figure out how to use it. After saying those words, the boy disappeared into the air, and Cheon is unable to process what the boy had said to him. It was at this time, a voice started to speak in his mind. Serial number 03445325893, Skycorp Gen 7 Nano Machine is now operational. And to those words, Cheon's eyes have widened, and he fell unconsciousness.
Long ago, the warriors of China learned martial arts for self-defense. And as time passed, the martial arts have continued to develop further, where it slowly became a weapon to kill enemies. Powerful masters started to create martial movements, like codified fighting forms and breathing techniques to increase the internal energy, whereby combining the internal energy and the codified fighting form, there will be a great impact and powerful blows delivered to the opponent. These breathing techniques and codified fighting forms have been handed down through texts, which eventually became sacred manuals, and warriors who mastered these techniques have powers that is far surpassing the ordinary human beings, and they came to be called as Murim warriors. So if the ordinary people wanted to learn these martial arts, they need to learn them from a Murim master, and thus they began to form factions in order to become their disciples. Among the factions, at the top of the hierarchy, there are two factions: the righteous faction, which follows the righteous path, and the evil faction, which follows the evil path. Then, one day, a man who is known as the Heavenly Demon, who made the entire world tremble in fear. He was so powerful that he was known as the strongest in the martial world ever existed, created a third faction that is as formidable as the other two factions. But this faction pursued a completely different path, one that revered only power. The world called them as the demonic faction, or the demonic cult. This is the story of the illegitimate child of the demon cult, who would overtake the patriarch to become the second heavenly demon god. This is the story of Yo-Woon-chon.
Then Cheon opened his eyes steadily, where he rose from his position to see where he is. Then he is a bit settled to know that he is in his room, and is also alive, but he is pondering as to how he survived when he was stabbed in the stomach. By placing his hand on his forehead, he could feel the heat inside his body. Also, he is completely drenched in sweat. Then he got a cough, and when he saw his hand, there is a peculiar black substance on his hand. His body is stinking a lot, where just the smell makes him feel like vomiting. Then at that moment, a voice questioned him if he is all right. He just glanced at the top of his room to see who spoke to him just now, and the voice echoed through his brain once again. Then he immediately got up from the bed to see who is there in his room. As he is scanning all around his room, the voice said to him to calm down for a moment, and he imagines that someone is speaking to him by using a whispering technique. There was a time when a person spoke to Cheon using this technique before, so he guesses that someone might be speaking to him using the whispering technique. However, he assumes that the voice is coming from his head, because the whispering technique doesn't sound like this. And to his surprise, the voice made him know that it really is coming from his head. Then Cheon questioned the voice as to who it is. The voice introduced itself, that it is able to communicate with him by connecting itself directly to the brain, and it is known as the Sky Corp's Gen 7 nanomachine. The MC gets agitated and tells the voice that he is not able to understand what it is speaking. Then the voice repeats itself, that it is a Gen 7 nanomachine. Cheon understood the nanomachine as nanomachine, and according to the ancient texts, Machin is a demonic spirit that is worshipped alongside the sacred flames. Then he falls to his knees and is inquiring the voice that if it is the revered Machin from the ancient times, to which the voice remains silent, since it is from the future, and Cheon is considering it from the past. Outside his room, a divine physician is here to check upon Cheon's condition. The physician is now inquiring about Cheon's condition, and the guard said that it was an assassination attempt. Furthermore, he never thought that the culprits would separate Cheon from him, because the culprits have always attempted to take Cheon's life a lot of times before this, but they have never separated them like this. The physician is considering the stealth sect as a suspect, because if the assassins have managed to trick someone like Guard Jang, only the stealth sect is able to pull off something like that. Then the guard briefs in. By the time he arrived to the location, he realized that someone had already helped Cheon in that dire moment, and the physician responded that, with the abilities of Guard Jang, he could have easily tracked down the person who assisted Cheon. Then the guard started to describe the situation. He was completely dumbfounded to see the area, as there were only the lower bodies of the assassins, where the upper bodies are nowhere to be found. There was only one body that was still intact, and that person was stabbed with the dagger that the guard himself had given to Cheon. At that instant, he heard the sound of someone breathing, and that was when he saw Cheon's body on the ground, where the MC had already lost a lot of blood, but there are no wounds on his body. The physician is baffled about this, and the guard replies to him. The MC's breathing at that time is stable, as if he was sleeping soundly. Besides, his clothes are pierced by a sword, but there isn't a single scratch on his body. The physician slowly started to consider the people that might assisted the MC, where he didn't involve the patriarch, because the patriarch wouldn't get involved in matters like this. So in order to satisfy their curiosity, they are now headed to Cheon's room, to know what exactly happened at that time. In the MC's room, he was appreciating the voice by calling it as Machin the spiritual demon, that the demon spirit had saved him from that life and death moment. And the voice then notified him that the voice is not the one who helped the MC from the assassins, but it is the one who saved him by using self-regeneration method to heal him. The MC puts into question as to what is this self-regenerating that the voice meant by, and the voice then prepares itself, transferring basic information to the user's brain, and the MC then questioned it again as to what is a user. The voice then started to change its conversation way, where it has now changed to the historical terminology. Now the voice said to Cheon,
Master, I am not the demonic spirit, Machin, that you speak of.
Cheon grasped that the voice of it has changed now, so he asks as to who it is, if it isn't Machin. The voice then said to him that it could transfer the basic information about itself, as well the user manual to the MC's brain. Cheon unknowingly accepted it, and then sparks started to form, and slowly the information and how to use the nanomachine is completely transferring to him. And right after the transfer had completed, Cheon caught his mouth, where he right that instant vomited the food he had eaten. Nanomachine then relayed to him that vomiting is the common occurrence to everyone as at the first information transfer, and from the second one onwards, there won't be any dizziness nor vomiting. As he fall back on the wall, his head has experienced a strange roller coaster ride during that transfer. Then he called the nanomachine and asked if there are really thousands of nanomachines inside his body. The nanomachine then agreed to it, and to be precise, there are 6.4 billion nanomachines in his body. Only now had he comprehended that nanomachine isn't a human nor Machin. He asked if it could leave his body if he wanted to, and Nano answered, according to the manual, it was programmed to exit his body only when he dies. The MC is sighing downheartedly, that his half-siblings are out there scheming a way to assassinate him. And if that weren't enough, now there are some strange machines in his body that will walk along with him until he dies. As he was about to question the nanomachine, that who installed the nanomachines in his body, the guard is knocking the door as the physician is here to meet Cheon. Cheon is startled to see the guard, where he is telling the nano to keep quiet, because they might think that the MC had gone mad because he is speaking to himself. Nano informed to him that they can communicate with thoughts, and the MC told it to keep quiet now, and the nano muted itself. The guard opened the door by believing Cheon is still asleep, so they need to finish the checkup quickly without disturbing him. Then he saw Cheon woke up and quickly called him as the young lord and inquired about his condition. Without hesitation, he closed his nose due to the bad smell from the young lord. Even the MC had forgotten about this. As the physician is looking at the young master's body, he asked the young master if he remembered the physician as they met before, and the young master replied that he do recollect the physician, as the physician is the one who took care of his mother when she was ill. Then the physician extended his hand, as he is now going to check the pulse of the young master, and when he is holding the hand, he flinched at that moment and whispered out that the condition is a bit strange compared to what he had expected. The guard instantly got a shock from the physician's words, so he wants to know if there is a problem with the young master. Then the physician relieved the guard that the condition is much better than he anticipated, as the toxins that should be inside the body are completely lost, and his energy circulation is going smoothly through the 8 meridians. So the physician believes that the young master must have eaten a wondrous herb. As both the young master and the guard are perplexed about it, the physician makes it clear that the young master's body is ready to learn martial arts, and there is nothing that can stop him as his body is in the best state that one could dream of. Now Cheon realizes that the black-colored slimy material that leaking out of his body when he woke up are the bad toxins from his body. He asked the nano if it is done by the machines in his body, and Nano Machine first requested if it can unmute itself as the MC told it to keep quiet earlier, and by getting a bit irritated, he told the nano to unmute. And then it started to explain, the nano machines that are distributed in his body remove the toxins, and they have converted his blood vessels, tendons, and muscles to the best athletic state. The demonic cult highly regards the martial arts and the demonic arts, and among the sects within the cult, there are 6 sects which reign over all of them, and these 6 sects are the core of the demonic cult. They are the Shadow Sect, the Sword Sect, the Stealth Sect, the Poison Sect, the Musician Sect, and finally the Saber Sect. These 6 sects have sworn through a pact, that is, they will give their maidens to the patriarch of the demonic cult to produce heirs, and these heirs are eligible to become minor priests, and are raised by their maternal families. When they are of certain age, they will enter the Academy of the Demonic Arts, and this academy opens once every 10 years only. The instructors are the very best in the sect, and the goal of this academy is to pit the students against each other and raise their martial arts skills to their limits. Nevertheless, there is a time when the competition becomes especially fierce. It is when the children of the patriarch enters the academy, and that is called as the grand tournament for the minor priesthood. As the physician asked the young master if he took some herb, the MC didn't want to disclose about Nano, so he just turned his head to the left side and is wondering, the physician is from the poison sect, so it will be a problem if the physician finds about Nano. Then Nano replied to him, the MC doesn't need to worry about that, as it is impossible for the current medical methods to discover the existence of Nano. And the physician, by looking at the young master's unusual behavior, comprehends that someone must have helped the young master back in the forest. The physician then lets the guard know that the physician will prescribe some herbal medicine to restore the young master's vigor, and the guard is happy to see that there is no problem with the MC. As the physician now took his leave, he is guessing as to what might have happened in the forest, because for a person to transform so completely is not something simple. The physician knew how small the MC is compared to his peers, and he was ignored by everyone in the cult, as the MC is incompetent of learning martial arts. But now the condition of the body is on a whole other level, which is equal to the young masters of the 6 sections. The physician could only come to one final realization, that the patriarch had never shown any interest in the MC, so he believes that the patriarch is supporting the MC from the sidelines, because the patriarch's blood is running through the veins of the MC. The young master now gets a bit cooled down as the physician hadn't noticed the nano machine. Now that he thinks about it, he grasped that he is alive because of Guard Jang. So the MC is now about to appreciate the guard's help, but the guard first raised his hand to stop the MC from speaking, whereby closing his nose, he told the MC to first have a bath as the MC is stinking so badly that the smell goes into his nose even if he closes it. As Cheon is having a bath, he is curious about the healing process of the Nano, as to how much could it actually heal him. Then the Nano replied that it could regenerate the external wounds such as sword wounds or internal damage to organs very quickly. But the blood loss of flesh takes some time, as it requires cell division and some science that I don't know about, and even the MC doesn't know what the Nano is now describing. Now he is set to test how regenerating will be done, where he took a small knife and is attempting to slice the skin of his palm. And when he did that, he felt quite some pain, and Nano has started its healing process, where the area that has been sliced is now slowly repairing itself. Even if he saw it with his own eyes, he still couldn't believe that his body is doing something so extraordinary. Now he is speculating as to what more abilities the Nano machine has, so he seeks to know if he could use all those abilities from the information that Nano has transferred to him, and Nano agreed to that. As he now came out of the bathtub, he is amazed to see his body's muscles have grown sturdier, as if he's been training for several years. At that time, an old woman is here to dress up the MC. Nano responds to him. It reconstructed his body, so that's why all his muscles are like a trained person, just by adjusting some tendons, blood vessels, and muscles. Now Cheon is in the library and asks Nano as to what he should do, and Nano tells him to take a book and skim through its pages. Then the MC saw a book on the shelf. This book is about the energy circulation basics. Then he started to flip the pages as if he's skimming the book. Nano then started the scanning process, and when he completed flipping the pages, Nano is now going to transfer the scanning material into the MC's brain. As he accepted Nano to send that information, a lighting begun in his eyes, and slowly the book's data is now transmitting to his brain. After the transfer is complete, he immediately caught his mouth as he was about to vomit, but this time he didn't vomit it as he got a bit adapted to it. However, he didn't feel anything like the information is in mind, so Nano suggested him to think about anything that is related to the book, as he has questioned himself about the energy circulation. Without his sense, he somehow knew what is inside the book, where he's speaking all about the energy circulation as if he knew that from the beginning. Moreover, he grasped the fundamentals of it like he mastered the book fully. What's more fascinating is that Nano even corrected the errors in the book. It made it possible by using the information stored in its database. He got a chills from what Nano had did, due to the fact that he got a ChatGPT premium version in which he could learn martial arts at a much quicker pace than everyone else. All the other 6 young lords have advanced in the training from their childhood, but because of their powerful pact and watchful eyes, all the MC can do is to learn the most basic and common breathing method. But he know a way to overcome this inferiority by using Nano in the Demonic Arts Academy, as there is a huge library in the academy which consists of manuals not only from the demonic cults, but even from the righteous faction and the evil faction too. He now had a clear goal in his mind, that he will become the most powerful person in the academy by using the Nano machine with its max abilities. In the residence of one of the 6 sects, the Stealth Sect, a young man is a bit frustrated as 5 of his members are unable to take down a single person who is a trash in martial arts. The guard then let the young lord knows that the possible conclusion would be a hidden master's hand in this. Even the young lord is guessing the same thing, but he couldn't understand as to what hidden master would help the MC. He is pondering that he even made sure to separate the MC from his guard, yet there is someone else protecting him from the shadows. Then slowly he lifts his hand and is stating that he wanted to kill the MC without staining his hands, but now he had no choice, so he clenches his fist tightly, and he is planning to kill the MC in the academy. The next day morning, the MC wakes up, or to be clear, he hadn't slept last night, because today is the day he will be entering the academy. Then he opens his window to get some fresh air, so that his nervousness can be settled. Outside the house, Guard Zhang is training in martial arts. He is now practicing a dagger technique. Cheon is regretting that he should have at least learned the dagger technique, so that he could protect himself in the academy. But then he remembered that because of all the 6 sects have their eyes on the MC, he didn't got the chance to learn martial arts. Besides, he promised to his mother that he won't practice martial arts until the day he enters in the academy. Then Nano called him and sought him if he wants to scan guard Zhang's training. To which the MC is blown away that Nano could even scan someone else's moves, and Nano nodded in agreement. The process is like, Nano will scan the guard's training, and then it will send that data transferred to Chion's brain. In addition to, Nano has the data about the martial arts that are in the future, and others like boxing and wrestling too, and it can transfer that data right into his brain at this moment. The MC is thinking that if he actually needs to steal guard Zhang's techniques without his permission, but then with conviction, he believes that he will enter the academy today without a guard. So he does have to learn a single technique to protect himself. Hence, he commanded Nano to start the scanning process, where a user interface system has opened and Nano commenced the scanning process. Guard Zhang is moving swiftly by performing his technique, and Nano is scanning the whole technique. This is like Jarvis from Iron Man movie. And when Guard Zhang finally finished the technique, Nano had successfully inspected the technique, where it took roughly 1 hour. Then Nano initiated the transfer to his brain, where a thunder spark erupted, and when the transfer is complete, he fell down because of that uneasy feeling. Yet this is a lot better compared to the first time. Then as he checked his brain for that data, he is stunned to believe that, where he is smiling, that everything he saw just now has been fed in his brain like he practiced the technique a lot of times. So he quickly sprinted from his position and grabbed a sword. As he is slowly unsheathing the sword, he knows very well as to how he can perform the technique. In that moment, he looked at the window and ponders that it might not be good for the guard to witness this technique. So he closed his windows and set to perform the technique. As he is exhaling, he opened his eyes with a strange blue color aura, and he rose from that place where even the ground shattered by that force, and he is moving in the exact same way that the guard head did. Chion is flabbergasted to see something like this, because it took guard Zhang 20 years to master this, yet the MC did it in less than 2 hours. Furthermore, one must practice a separate codified form every day to execute the technique well. Nevertheless, he just skipped that entire process. On that occasion, Nano spoke to him. That Nano did the analysis on muscle fibers and some tendons, so it will transfer them right away when the MC is ready for it. As the MC is mulling over why should he do that, but by the time Nano was about to explain that step, he felt an immense pain in his body, where he fell to his knees and dropped the dagger in his hand. He is asking Nano as to what happened, and it said that a person needs to have the right amount of muscles to enact a movement that others performed. Because a person's muscles develop according to the move they are practicing over the years, but the MC just tried to perform a technique that a person did for 20 years, so it resulted in the muscle damage as the MC's muscles are not sufficient for that technique yet. Then the young master accepted to transmit the data, and Nano notified him that it will take 2 hours to adjust the muscles, as all the nano machines in his body must be activated. The young master agrees with that, since he had plenty of time to enter the academy, and Nano then responded to him. He will be put to sleep as it will hurt a lot to him. Chion then replied, he wants to first check how it feels to do that, so he orders Nano to put him into sleep if he weren't able to handle that. In that manner, Nano begun the delivery of muscles information, and all Chion could feel is that, as someone is tickling him, and before his thoughts even process, there are some sounds of cracks, and his body has undergone through a torment, and Nano, sensing this, immediately initiated the anesthesia into his body, and he fell back on the bed. Guard Zhang in the kitchen is cooking a meal for the MC. As he had taken a sip of it, he is happy that all the dishes he prepared today are the favorites of the young master. Then he is reflecting into the past, as to how he has been cooking for the young master for the past 5 years. Then his mind wandered back to when the young master's mother is requesting the guard to take proper care of Chion, and that is her last wish if she were to die. At that moment, the guard heard the scream of someone. Then he instantly left the knife and ran to the young master's room. As he opened the door shouting for his young master, he is startled to see that Chion is sleeping calmly. Then he pressed the nerves on his hand and realized that the pulse is normal, so he couldn't comprehend as to why the young master yelled like that. Then he saw something on the floor, on which there are footprints embedded on the floor. As soon as the guard touched those footmarks, he understood that the young master has performed his dagger technique. He is in state of joy and disbelief, as he is shocked that Chion had been watching the guard train for 2 years and caught up with his 20 years training. But what the guard doesn't know is that the MC had did all of that in just 2 hours. The MC had opened his eyes, and Nano stated that the information processed to the muscles incomplete, and then the protagonist raised from the bed. He just vowed to himself that he won't be doing that ever again, and as he saw that he was on the bed, he could grasp that guard Jang had placed him over on the bed. Then he took the dagger, and is asking Nano that if he could demonstrate the technique without any problems. Nano then agreed to that as the tendons and muscles fibers are now on the same level as someone who had trained for 20 years. Then he closes his eyes and exhaled deeply, and slowly he got into the stance, and as he started performing it, he could feel that the sequence is the same as before, but the accuracy of the blows and movements are powerful. The MC was happy. He thought that this feeling when he is slicing the air was excellent. The MC then made many strikes and moves, like that. He swirled the dagger in his hand, and gripped it in reverse position, by stating that the first sequence is complete. Now he is headed to the second sequence, where he slammed the floor with that pressure. Then he looked down on the floor, where the footprint is deeper than before, as if it was embedded by someone who has internal energy. Then, guard Jang is here knocking the door, that he is here to serve the breakfast to the MC. The MC is trying his best to clean the footprints, but they aren't clearing at all, and the guard Jang opened the door, and inside the room, the MC pulled over a table to make the footprints invisible. Then guard Jang set the food plate on the table, and tears have started to roll around his eyes, because he knew that guard Jang had prepared all the MC's favorite dishes, since this will be the last meal that the MC will have until he comes out of the academy again. Guard Jang is happy to see the young master eating so joyfully the meal he prepared. Later sometime, Cheon placed his chopsticks on the table as he finished the meal. Then guard Jang questioned him by closing his eyes, that when did the MC had mastered his dagger technique. The MC got a bit agitated and asked as to what guard Jang is speaking about. In that instance, guard Jang dragged the table to his side, and when he saw the footprints this time, he is surprised that the depth of the mark has increased, which means the MC has become more proficient than last time. The MC is unable to explain himself, because stealing one's technique in Murim is forbidden, and he is regretting that he was blinded by Nano's power and did an unthinkable mistake. Then guard Jang sat on one of his knee and appreciated the young master, that he was happy to see that MC mastered such a technique without any teachings. Moreover, he would have taught that technique himself, if it weren't for the 6 sects pact. By those words from the guard Jang, tears are starting to drop off from his eyes, and then guard Jang handed over a parchment, where the tips to circulation for the dagger technique are written in that. The MC is so helpless to see this, where he is believing that he would always protect guard Jang, that even if means making the world his enemy. A memory started to resurface on guard Jang's mind, as to how the young master cried a lot when his mother died, and that was the moment he swore that he would never cry again. As he lifted the food plate, guard Jang knew that the young master grown up without any parent's affection, but if the guard here tries to show any affection, he believes that the MC won't be able to stay in the academy. Then he stated to the MC to cry as much as possible here, and to pursue the path to become the strongest. In the demonic academy, all the students are starting to gather, where the students are conversing to each other about the powerful people in the sect. Then a student is advising the other one. They need to be careful this time. Because of the minor priesthood competition, they need to side with someone who actually has the potential to win. A person then started to appear out of the building, where he is a bit unsatisfied to see the students murmuring to each other. He is disheartened to see that there is no one who has the fighting spirit in here, and states that everyone needs to stay silent, because this academy will be very strict about discipline. This red-haired person who is excluding the red-colored aura is the right-hand royal bodyguard of the patriarch himself, Lord of the Flame, Wei Myong-li. As soon as the students saw the red-haired person, they started to converse to each other, that this person is one of the sect's top 5 strongest warrior. The red-haired man is satisfied to see the people in the front row, because they look promising to become stronger, where all these 6 people are from the 6 sections. Student number 1, Muyan Cheon, from the Shadow Sect. Student number 2, Jiang Woon Cheon, from the Sword Clan. Student number 3, Mujiam Cheon, from the Stealth Sect. Student number 4, Jongseom Cheon, from the Poison Sect. Student number 5, Yuchan Cheon, from the Saber Sect. Student number 6, Wonryo Cheon, from the musician sect. As the red-haired man is thinking that there is a girl in the minor priesthood this time, he couldn't see where the student number 7 is. The MC is missing in the candidates. Outside the academy, the MC is baffled to hear that this person couldn't find his badge number, and the volunteer responded to him that in all the badges present here, he couldn't find the badge number 7 only, so he said to wait some time. The young master knew that this is one of the schemes of the minor priesthood people, so he approved the volunteer to have some time finding out where it is. As he is leaning on a wall, he can't believe that the 6th sex had did something like this to him. He understood that they bribed the volunteer, so the MC will have no choice but to stand at the back and not aside the other minor priesthood candidates. However, he had no choice but to follow along with their schemes for now, as nothing good will come out by making a ruckus before entering the academy. But there is one thing that is certain, that all the 6 sects are waiting for an opportunity to eliminate the MC, where they will come straight for his head if they got the chance. Nonetheless, after seeing all their schemes and strategies to kill him from his childhood, his blood is boiling to the point where even a thermometer would blast away by that temperature, and he vowed to himself that he will become the strongest warrior in the academy. Afterwards, as all the students are standing in order, the MC is a bit relieved that he is at the back, because standing at front makes him a bit nervous. Then the students are whispering to each other as to how weak the MC is, that he don't even know anything about martial arts, and he will be the first person to get expelled from the academy. The MC can predict that all the people ahead of him are speaking lowly of him, yet he doesn't care about that stuff. Now the red-haired man saw the MC at the back. He is imagining that the MC looks ridiculous standing at the back when he carries the blood of the patriarch. Yet he hopes for the MC to get at least a warrior rank in this academy and to lead a happy life.
It was at this moment, the horns blared like a war cry echoing through the skies, and every student stiffened as the weight of that sound crashed over them, for only one man could make the heavens announce his arrival like that, the patriarch. From the abyss of shadows, he emerged with a stride that didn't just command attention, it demanded silence. And behind him walked a masked figure reeking of bloodlust, and a swordsman whose blade seemed to hum with death. The world itself bowed in his presence. It was a force carved from war, fear, and dominance.
As the patriarch is stepping onto the seat, the swordsman was about to fall, and the red-haired man caught him. The red-haired man is disgusted to see that the swordsman wearing a shabby clothes to such an ceremony. And the swordsman who was drunk is the left-hand royal bodyguard of the patriarch, Madblade. Seatmoing is telling the red-haired man to shut up and mind his own business. In that moment, the masked man ahead of them both is glaring at them with ferocious eyes. He just declared,
"Silence. Do not disturb the ceremony."
He is the head royal bodyguard, Lord of the Darkness, Regium Ma. As the patriarch sat on the chair, he is the member of the 5 elite martial arts masters in the world, Patriarch Yujong Cheon. All the students felt the presence of the patriarch as something overwhelming, where they can't even look him in the eye. And the MC is wondering that it has been a long time since he had last met his father, where he couldn't even remember his face correctly. The masked man raised his hand and told everyone to keep quiet, to which the whole ground now filled with silence. Then the masked man bowed his head down and told the patriarch that everything was ready. The patriarch then started to walk near the front of the podium, and as he glanced at the students, he began giving out his speech to the students.
"To all the young ones to lead our sect's future, I welcome you to the academy."
All the students are terrified of that pressure they are receiving from the patriarch. Even the MC himself is stupefied by that momentum. Then the patriarch continued,
At this academy, you will hone your skills and become the driving force behind our cult.
Every student present in the ground shouted with approval, and the bodyguards bowed their heads to the patriarch. And as the patriarch is leaving the podium, he glanced at someone in that small moment, where it is none other than the MC. In that way, after seeing his son for a short while, the patriarch turned his head and went back to his duty. The MC is so furious at the patriarch, because even after seeing him after a long while, his father hadn't even smiled at him. Moreover, the patriarch hadn't visited when the MC's mother had died. The red-haired man is now ready to state the rules of the academy, yet the students, without listening to what he is saying, are just having chit-chats where they aren't even giving some face to the red-haired man. Then he clenched his teeth in anger, where some puny little kids are behaving like some big bosses in front of him, he straightaway yelled at them to keep silence, and the students all have startled to see the demeanor of the red-haired man. Then the red-haired man described the procedure of the academy, where there are 6 stages in total in the course of 4 years, with each stage having its own examination to advance to the next stage. And the students are allowed to take the examination only once. It means if a person fails in an exam even once, there won't be another chance for them to try, and have to just leave the academy. The students are starting to get a bit scared, that the rules are very harsh, on which some students have begun to get disheartened. The red-haired man is now happy to see that the students who have acted like the protagonists are pissing their pants. Then a person raised his hand as he was having a doubt. He is a young lord from one of the minor priesthood. Nevertheless, the red-haired man is not an easy one, so he said that he won't be taking any questions. By that attitude from the red-haired man, the young lord is flexing his aura, but the red-haired man then started his aura farming, in which he warned the young lord that the moment they step into the premises of the academy, they will lose their privileges as the young lord, so the red-haired man has the authority to expel him right this instant. All the remaining young lords are laughing at the second young lord. The second one doesn't have any option here, so he put his pride aside and apologized for his mistake. The red-haired man then settled down and resumed his explanation, that he knows that the students are getting scared because of those rules. Then he disclosed about the rewards they will receive for passing each stage. If a person were to pass the first stage, the demonic dragon pill will be rewarded. The students are speaking to each other, that this pill is something that could grant them 20 years worth of internal energy, so one student assumes that if he were to pass all the 6 stages, he would gain 120 years worth of internal energy. Then a student revealed that just by having pill won't grant them 20 years worth of energy, on which it will depend on the user's performance to absorb the most amount of energy from the pill, because if a person really were to gain 120 years of energy just by having some pills, all the higher-ups will have the pills for themselves. The MC is planning to pass the 6 stages and to hone his skills to the max level, because he never had the chance to learn any martial arts, and this might be his first and last time to have an opportunity like this, since the 6 sects won't leave him alive once steps outside the academy. The red-haired man then moved on to the next reward. The second reward is for a person to have the access of visiting the martial arts library. As the academy has 5 floors, each time a person passes a stage, they will have the access to the next floor. Now the students' faces have got brightened up due to the fact that learning the secret manuals will take them reach newer heights in martial arts. In that fleeting moment, the red-haired man divulges to everyone, where he is for sure that none of the students present here won't reach 5th floor even in their wildest dreams. The swordsman from aside is getting annoyed by the way of the red-haired man speaking, because the red-haired is encouraging and discouraging at the same time. Now the red-haired man is uncovering the last reward, in which the students will be granted the opportunities of statuses and positions that they have never dreamed of. The second young lord now comprehends as to why they will lose their privileges when they enter the academy, because in here, only the positions and the hierarchy is important, and no one cares about the life they led outside. And if anyone tries to overact, that will be their last day in the academy. The order of positions are like this, from low to high. First one is a low-rank warrior, second one is a middle-rank warrior, third one is a high-rank warrior, fourth one is a sentry, fifth one is a warden, and for the last rank, the red-haired man didn't expose that, as he believes there is no need for him to reveal a rank when no one is going to attain it, because most of them will fall on the 3rd rank. For students who come from the normal houses, it is okay to be placed at the 3rd rank, but for the prestigious families, it would only leave a stain on their honor. Then the swordsman just sighs down, that just mentioning about the 6th stage is useless, because from the beginning of this academy, only 10 people had made it to that far in hundreds of years. That is all the red-haired man has to say. So now he declares, the first stage will now commence in order to assign the dorms of the students. The MC is shaken to the core to hear that, and all the students have initiated their chit-chats once more, because all of them are petrified of the sudden exam. The red-haired man then got so angry that he is shouting at them like a mad dog. As such, the first trail is all about internal energy. Only the students with the basic amount of internal energy will pass the test, And for those who don't have basic amount will fail in this test, and they have to leave the academy right that instant. And those people will have no option but to do jobs like farming and commerce in the end. The MC is stunned by that, because putting aside the most basic amount of internal energy, he doesn't even have internal energy to begin with. The MC now tightened his fist in rage as he realized as to why the 6 sects made a pact that the young master should never train in internal energy, because they knew that only by having the basic amount of internal energy, one could pass the first stage in the academy, and when he ends up expelled from the academy, they can easily kill him by using their authority. The third young lord is laughing at the protagonist, where he is giving a big round of applause to the person who devised this system, since he now won't have to dirty his hands by killing the MC himself. In that moment he saw something, where a lady by holding an instrument that is like a violin and a few ladies are following her. This is the 5th elder of the demonic cult, head of the musician sect, Soyuhang. As she is climbing onto the podium, the red-haired man introduced her, and she will be the examiner for this test. The test is, the lady will play her mandolin instrument with her musical force, and if she were to use her full power, no one would even make it out alive. So she will reduce her power to only 5 to 10%, and if they are lucky, they can just survive this test with sheer endurance alone. The lady will be playing the mandolin for only a minute, and as long as they have the basic amount of internal energy, they can ace this test, and the people who faint in the middle of it will be regarded as failures. Then the test commenced, and the lady started to play her mandolin with her fingers, which made the air blow around from her music alone. People have started to close their ears, and some are trying their best to endure it, since the test lasts only for a single minute. As the vibrations now reach the MC, the students have slowly started to fall down, and some are even vomiting. The red-haired man is a bit unsatisfied seeing that people have already set to collapse, and the third young lord is imagining that the test is like a breeze to him, since their family had supplied him a lot of pills to enhance his internal powers since his childhood. Likewise, the lady's fingers are moving slightly faster, and the young lords could feel that something is wrong, because the lady herself said that she won't be using more than 10% of her power, yet it had already reached to 20%. In that manner, the expression of the lady is slowly getting bitter. The students are helpless to comprehend as to why the lady is increasing the speed a lot. The lady herself has lost her mind as to why that person is holding out pretty well. The person that the lady mentioned is none other than the protagonist himself, on which the protagonist is just calmly looking at the others as if he doesn't feel anything. Half of the people have fainted. Moreover, all the people who had fainted had the basic amount of internal energy. Then Nano said to him that the mandolin is emitting a powerful frequencies. After detecting that they could lead to bodily injuries, Nano activated the self-defense mode, where the harmful sound waves are all blocked from the performance. The lady laid her fury-filled eyes on Chion, which made him perspire just from the gaze of the lady, and the young master asked if Nano could block the enormous glare as well, and Nano offered it will completely stop the visual senses, and the MC said no to that.
The red-haired man could discern that the lady is losing her patience and is ruining the performance. This much force has already exceeded the basic limit of a warrior. What's surprising is that the MC is standing like ferocious dragon with determination to ace this test. Now red-haired man got satisfied after witnessing the MC in action, because even he heard that the MC never trained in internal powers, so he guesses that the young master must have learned them in secret. The students are raising their voice at each other, that their ears are bleeding by that musical force. Even the students from the prestigious sects are barely hanging on the last thread. The third young lord, completely lost in thought, he could perceive that the face of the lady looks angry, so he looked into the direction where she is looking. To his surprise, the MC is steadily standing on the same position without moving an inch. The rest of the young lords are looking at the third young lord as to why he made such a face. Then all the 6 of them are bewildered to see the MC holding out way better than them. The third young lord is gritting his teeth in anger that the MC must have honed his internal powers in secrecy.
The young master inquiries Nano if all the people ahead of him are looking at him seriously, and Nano initiated analyzing the facial muscles of the targets. And after analyzing her facial movements, Nano concluded that the lady is in an emotion of anger, absurdity, petulance, and surprise. The young master is annoyed of this, because no matter what he does, people are still trying to take him down by any means necessary. But then a doubt arisen in his mind. that if he were to pass in the first test, people won't believe that the MC doesn't have internal powers, so then the sixth sex will have cause to kill the MC since he had terminated the pact that is set by the six sections. Then he commanded Nano to inflict some internal injuries on him purposely, but Nano recommended not to do that. Yet he insisted that he needs to cough up some blood after the performance is finished, or else it would cause a huge ruckus in the academy.
The 1 minute mark was closing in, but the young master hadn't fallen. Nonetheless, he is standing firmly on the ground. That alone made the lady's rage explode. The 15-year-old mutt who was deemed as a worthless person still standing against her music, and she refused to let that insult go unanswered. Her eyes burned with fury as she raised the intensity to 50%. The sound now felt like blades tearing through the air. This wasn't a test anymore. It was punishment. And if the other children died in the crossfire, she didn't care about that. She would make him kneel, even if it meant turning the whole place into a graveyard. The red-haired man sensed the intensity in the force, where he turned his head at the lady because if he don't stop her right now, something cruel could happen. The fourth young lord is cursing the lady with foul words, as his ears are bleeding constantly. The red-haired man immediately yelled at her.
Lady, hang if you don't stop the music right now. I'll have to break the mandolin myself.
The red-haired man's shout made the lady snap out of the fury and stopped playing the music. The students have relieved, where they caught their chests since it was suffocating for them hold on for this long. The swordsman is bad-mouthing the lady inwardly, that if she raised the level of her music even the slightest, everyone here wouldn't have it made past the first stage. The lady then caught her hair in embarrassment, that she couldn't control her anger just because of some brat. Even now she is looking at the MC with a serious expression, that it was all because of the MC she had to raise her musical force. Besides, she never thought that the MC had broken the pact made by the sixth sex and harnessed his internal powers. She is blaming all her wrongdoings on the MC, and it was at this time, a blurt erupted from his mouth. In the next moment, he vomited a mouthful of blood, which made both the red-haired man and the lady flabbergasted. The third young lord is surprised to see that. He honestly didn't understand what he was witnessing. The protagonist then fell to his knees, and is coughing up more blood, and the nearby students are all bewildered to see something like this. Some of them are considering that the young master may even die right here. The young master is furious at Nano, and Nano innocently replied that it did as it was commended, so it inflicted injuries to 30% to his internal organs, and made him cough up blood as much as possible. He was yelling at the Nano, that he almost had died by that. Then his eyes have enlarged, where he vomited another round of blood. The red-haired man jumped into action, because he is the deputy head of the academy, and if something were to happen to the young master here, the responsibility will befall on his shoulders. Moreover, the young master is son of the patriarch himself. Then he caught the hand of the young master, and inquiries if he is all right. Nano relayed to him, he currently lost 7% of the blood, so he will be suffering dizziness. Furthermore, Nano needs to replenish the blood to recover from the injuries, but he halted Nano's action saying that this is not the right time. The red-haired man asked as to why the young master had to act so tough when he could have fainted. Nano is warning him that he is critical state, so recovery is urgent, yet he responds, just to wait a little longer. Then the red-haired man wanted to check just how strong are the young master's internal powers, because even the people from the sixth sex have almost fallen, and then his eyes widened, because the young master doesn't have any internal powers. He can't believe that the young master risked his life and passed this test just with his sheer determination, and it has been a long time since he's been working as an academy deputy, but he never saw such an outcome. He raised his hand at that moment. Then two warriors descended from above, and the red-haired man ordered them to take the young master to the infirmary right away. As the warriors placed the young master on the stretcher, the MC now told Nano to heal him quickly without any delay. Then the red-haired man came back to the podium and stated that the lady went too far this time, which made the lady flinched. As she was trembling for what she did, she is trying to cover up this situation, and the red-haired man then sighed down and said that not only she nearly killed the young master, but if it had been a little late, all the participants wouldn't pass the first trail. She wonders if the young master had low internal powers, but the red-haired man revealed that the MC doesn't have anything to begin with, and he could confirm it, because when he attempted to stimulate him with his internal power, he sensed there was no internal energy within him. Then the lady then rose from her seat, denying the words of the red-haired man, that there is no one who could endure her musical force without internal energy. The red-haired man uncovered that the young master withstood her musical force solely through his determination. The red-haired man is pondering that if it weren't for the MC's background, he would have already taken him as a disciple, but he hesitates to do that because he doesn't want to oppose the 6 sections. The swordsman took a sip of the alcohol, and now he fascinated about the young master's capabilities, but the red-haired man told him to mind his own business by drinking in some corner. They two left, and right-hand bodyguards are slowly started arguing, and the swordsman responded that if it isn't for the masked bodyguard, the red-haired man would have already been dead right now. And the red-haired man replied, he too has the same opinion, where the swordsman would have been dead if it isn't for the masked bodyguard.
The atmosphere twisted into thick, violent energy, and heavy like a battlefield moments before carnage. As the bodyguards stepped forward, their aura didn't just radiate, it crushed, pouring out like a tidal wave of killing intent. The ground felt distant under the students' feet, their hearts pounding in panic, for that suffocating presence wasn't human. It was the breath of monsters ready to strike. Even the ground begun to rumble.
But then it slowly settled, as the swordsman just lost the mood to fight. In that way, the both of the bodyguards have moved on their own ways, and the swordsman believes that these kids have no endurance at all, and then he sharpens his eyes and realizes that the MC is truly a hidden talent. So now the swordsman wants to take the MC as his disciple. This heavenly demon cult was established 800 years ago. It was built by the first heavenly demon, and if you want to know as to how the first heavenly demon made the entire world tremble in fear with his martial prowess, check out this recap that I have already made. The link will be in the description, and for more manhwa recaps with intense voice overs and heavy editing styles, subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching.